Okay, it's Friday the 13th, which explains the market today. We didn't do our review yesterday. I was at a track meet with my daughter. So we're going to do yesterday and kind of what's already happened today. George has to take off early. As you'll remember, he's headed out of town next week. He has graciously agreed to take his laptop and chart cast a little bit if he can. So we'll have some guidance next week. We just won't hear the melodious tones of Mr. Bubbles.
Melodious tones. All right. Yeah, it's
Take it over.
I had to convince the wife about that one. I was like, I'm not gonna be like on my computer all the time. Just, I'll get on for like an hour. She's like, you better. All right. Anyhow, we wanted to make sure we covered yesterday simply because it was a very notable day on the market and we had just a huge amount of downside movement. So let's cover what happened on the 12th. So here in the pre-market, I had posted right around the 8:15 mark that there was an upside hurdle and that was going to be, potential stopping point of the market. But if it got through at all, it wasn't for a lot more. So we did have some additional targets just slightly above to the upside in the event that we got that little additional push. However, again, wicks do not count in our scenarios because they have to have a full body close, or at least a body close, preferably 2 or 3 or 4. But either way, we only got wicks to the upside. So hurdle held, and then we had a decision point that was down here that basically needed to hold in relationship to this hurdle. So if I were to block it off, it's this zone right here, basically. It's and again, we were posting this later in the day because we didn't actually start the room until about this time. So just kind of letting folks know that, hey, we've already reached the hurdle. We've come back below the decision point. We're back above the decision point here at the start of the day. So here's your space. Either way, and that obviously did break the decision point. And then the next big one, and this was really the only other thing that was on the chart in the morning, was the downward decision point. So after we broke the downward decision point, that was pretty much all she wrote. And I don't have my notes. We'd had a minor has to hold up here at 79, but I gave a little more aggressive. Oh yeah, it was 75. I'd verbally given us an aggressive entry at 75, but that the minor has to hold. So if you're watching this in like real time, here we are at 10 o'clock, 10:05, whatnot. And as we're starting to climb back up, because we're always looking for the pullback. I don't want to sell way down here as the market's making some giant move in any direction. So either way, as it was climbing back up, I gave the room. I said 75 was the most aggressive attempt to reshort. And again, I guess technically the more aggressive would have been the decision point itself. But there were factors at play at the market. It was kind of obvious that 75 was a better option. So 75 was that. And then lastly, the minor needed to hold 4 points higher. So, again, you don't always get the best entry, and they gave us what they gave us. And so 75 was it. After that, downside target series 1, I'm not going to go through every single detail because, again, this was yesterday. I just want to make sure we covered it. So downside series of targets that, again, we called out well in advance, blew through the rubber band. And this is something that we're watching very closely, because if you get a blow through a rubber band, well, that's very telling of that move in the market. Then moving down, here we are. We had another decision point, same thing. Push through that. This candle here at 10:45 came back and retested. And I'll see if I can find the wick in there. There it is. There's the wick. Came back and retested. It was quick. Like, you had to be on your feet for that one, because as soon as it broke, it just retested. Down. We had a hurdle. Again, this is just going to be one of those days. Down. Big picture support. And again, big picture. It's not something we typically encourage people engaging in, certainly in a counter trend scenario, because it's big picture. It's not about what it's doing in the here and now. It's really something of information for later. And this one would have not really made a lot of sense anyway, because there were targets leading into just below that anyway. So again, here we are, another series of targets that we gave out ahead of time, got to all of them. Then the market consolidated forever. How long is this? 4 hours. Consolidated for 4 hours, gave another series of targets that we called out, and another downside decision point for another hurdle, and then another series of targets. It was just an amazingly crazy down day. But again, I wanted to make sure, and then we finally did get to target 2 here. So again, keeping in mind, like we called this out at, I think I came back on, if I remember, I came back on like late 3 o'clock. When we came back on, I was like, it was, again, it wasn't me, like it's the market. Market gave all these additional ones, but hours ahead of time. So we gave the target here at, call it 3:30 or something. And here at 1 o'clock in the morning, they finally get there. So you can't time the market necessarily. That's very difficult to do, but price is price. All right, so let's zoom forward into today. And today, crazy morning, absolutely crazy morning. I pretty much just let go of my mouse and did nothing because the ES was just all over the map. Posted some stuff early in the morning. We had upward decision points and downward decision points. We had that at 8:30. And so here we are, guys. We're in the active live market right now, just after 11 o'clock on the 13th. So a little treat for anybody that's viewing this that's not in the trade room. You actually get to see in real time where we're projecting, and then you can comment later if we got there. So yeah, very big treat for those of you not in the room. But yeah, 8:25 in the morning, posted where the decision points were, where the hurdles were going to be top to bottom, and it ranged it. I mean, again, this was an insane. There's not going to be a lot to talk about here because we didn't discuss much other than right here. I said there's one opportunity right here on the ES at 68.38. And if you want to track this one, it's a minor has to hold. As always, you do not have to give it a lot of space. So don't take it. If it breaks, it breaks. A couple points, done. I took it. It knocked me out. So that was my only entry personally this morning. And then I waited and I waited and I waited. And just recently, the market here at I think we gave this about 10:40ish is when we talked about this, maybe 10:45. So like 20 minutes ago, we'd said that the market has to hold right now at 38.5, which is still valid. So as long as the market holds 38.5 here, then we have currently upside targets up here around 90 or 6,900, 14, and 28, 29. So again, real treat for anybody who's not actually in the trade room. This is not going to happen probably again. That'd be my guess. But yeah, this is what we're dealing with in the here and now. And so we have our decision points that the market has already pushed above. We've already pushed above the hurdle that we gave. And then again, they completed this series earlier, and then they pulled it back down, near the has to hold area. So that series itself is completed. They did what they were going to do, and they're not concerned about it anymore. So that was the ES. I'll try to be a little more brief on the NQ. So same thing, we'll pull back to yesterday. And without getting into, I'll get into less detail, in fact. I'll just show it to you guys. Like, we had stuff called out ahead of time. Yay for us. Has to hold after 940. It held. We gave an aggressive short around 380 comparative to the has to hold. Obviously, that was the winner. It overshot by 10 points, but it also undershot by 10 points. So a little, I guess we'd call it classic NQ. It's never precise. And then broke through decision point or targets, came back, gave yet another scenario. Minor has to hold at 74. We gave second target as the more aggressive. Obviously, it used that one for the next series of downside targets, decision points. And again, this is what we do, folks, day in and day out. We try to track the market in real time so that people don't get caught on the wrong side. And as we were making our way down, we finally got to the big picture has to hold, which this was phenomenal. I mean, if you just look at the return on taking this long, 803 at the bottom, and that's 130, 140 points. It's amazing. And then overnight, again, kind of the same thing we were talking about. I jumped back in and just posted some stuff real quickly. They gave another hurdle, which it wicked below pretty hard, but it did hold. And then another huge bounce. And then it finally did it get to first target? Yeah, by NQ standards, it got there. It missed it by just a few points. But again, that's, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then let's pull forward to today and where we're at currently. Both are kind of running the same general play at the moment. Again, this was insane. You couldn't really trade this with confidence. 250 points of movement in 2 5-minute candles to start your day off with. So that was not great. But they did have a fantastic counter trend off of the decision point in the earlier part of the morning. And it did hold. The miner has to hold initially and gave a pretty awesome bounce right back to the POC. But then, of course, that's when stuff started getting like right after the 940 candle, things just got completely beside themselves. And so, again, I sat on my hands throughout the rest of this morning personally. It just wasn't worth engaging. It was just too much. So I just recently got back in as the market gave a has to hold here. I got a few contracts in. It didn't get down far enough to the 707 for all of my contracts, but that's okay. And then we got upside targets. And again, feel free to view this and comment in the comment section, but we got targets to the upside here that we're looking for by the end of the day around 69, looks like 30, and possibly even 92. Oh, that was a lot.
Definitely a lot going on today. It's kind of smoothed out a little bit, but yeah, those first couple 5-minute candles, I was like, I am not touching my mouse.
Nope. I walked away. I grabbed coffee and I came back probably 10 minutes later. I wasn't even in the room at the seat. I was like, this is insane. Like you can't trade that.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for the review. And I know you're going to have a good vacation next week, and we appreciate you, doing a little bit of chart casting. We don't want you to get in trouble with the wife, but we'll.
No, as long as I stick to my 60 minutes, I think
Okay.
we're going to be on. Okay.
Sounds good. And
all right, guys.
I'm going to do the training session next Monday at 7:45. I'm going to do some kind of software stuff. So we'll keep the same slot. I know a lot of people have been showing up every week Monday night, so I will do that one while George is out, and we will see him the following Monday. Thanks, everybody.
Nice. Thanks, guys.